So my internet is shit, like Brian told you. It's getting looked at this weekend. You're our very first guest, so yay. And thank you so much for being on here, by the way. Josh and I, and I'll introduce Josh to you in just a minute, but Josh and I are just getting used to this platform with Brian. And what I've found is until we start live streaming and pushing it out to all the platforms and, having to do a full ass introduction, it's easier just to like bullshit about whatever happens and whatever pops up because the clips have been like really awesome and really natural and really funny and fun to put together. And I don't know if you've ever used Riverside's platform, but their AI clips that they're pulling are really good. So,
oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So, Josh here, first of all, I've known Beth, I feel like since 2019 or 2020-ish.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long time.
Nice.
I don't think we've ever even met in person, which is nuts.
You ever meet in Vegas?
I don't think we ever met. I
It's
think it just
wild
feels like
because,
we have.
but that's how life works these days. Like, because we've met literally. I just
Yeah.
haven't physically seen your body, but I have my mind thinks I've physically seen it. So,
Yeah, because like we've talked on the phone
anyway,
before. Yeah, we send video messages to each other, voice messages just over the years, referrals, all kinds of shit. She's like taught me stuff. And so it's just been amazing watching Beth, watching your social media explode, watching your career. I really love your online presence. So I thought you'd be a great guest. I really was very selective about the guests that I asked because I wanted to make sure that they were people that are comfortable being on camera. They're people who are confident and comfortable talking about themselves and real estate and things like that. So I knew you'd be like a badass guest to have. So first of all, thank you for being here.
I love
Um,
that. I'm not confident. I'm convinced.
there we go. And then we've got Josh Reese here. And he is my South Dakota broker at my brokerage, but also our director of advancement. And he's also an Inman contributor. He's got like a weekly column. I'll let you talk about that, Josh, because I don't even know what all goes into that. But he writes like 2 to 3 articles a week for Inman, and that's really opened a lot of doors for us too, which has been really fun to see. But he's got a great relationship with Inman. He specializes in lead gen tactics, and he's just like a really smart dude. So I was happy to hitch my wagon to this guy. I'll let you introduce yourself, though, Josh.
I mean, you pretty much said everything. Yeah, I super fortunate. Got asked to be an Inman contributor. Oh, it's almost a year now. And I think in that year, I don't know, I've averaged more than an article a week. So it's been good. But yeah, my background, I've been here for 6 months, I think now, at the new company. I've been in real estate about 10 years. My wife is also in real estate, and she's taught me everything she knows. So I guess that's how I got here.
And his wife's a badass. She's also a Marine, so I would know who's a badass around here. But yeah, so Beth, let's talk a little bit about your background because it's really intense. You have a super specific niche as well, which I find fascinating. So let's talk about you.
Yeah, my story is so wild, and I've always tried to like condense it. I think for my brand, we've gotten into a 2 minute like brand story film. It's like the quickest way to catch people up. So the 2 second version of that 2 minute version of my 48 years on this earth is that I was like a workaholic, type A, overachiever, and I got cancer at 26. And I was supposed to be dead at 30 and I didn't die. And why this is important to my story is because it made me broke. And I'd been financially responsible my entire life. And so I had amassed over $200,000 in debt. And I just felt like I was never going to win in life. Like I just couldn't believe what financial hardship feels like. And I think every single human on earth has gone through financial hardship, whether it be from a disease, from a death, from student loans, from major credit card debt, like whatever it is, everyone knows what that feels like physically and emotionally to carry debt. So I knew the only way I could get out of debt was by becoming great at real estate. And I knew the only way I could plan for my future was by investing in real estate. But because I didn't have any money to invest, I figured, let me get really good at this and let me help my regular friends invest. So I became an expert in the real estate investment specialty on the residential side before I ever even bought my first piece of real estate, which is wild because people are like, to be a good realtor, you need to own a house. No, like I was great at my craft. And because I was so good, I managed to pay off all of my debt. And then right around age 40, I bought my first piece of property. And now I'm 48 with 8 doors, no debt. And I've helped my clients acquire over 400 doors. I'm a best-selling author, just a tremendous realtor. And here I am.
That's a truly incredible story. And I remember when you actually launched your book as well. And I was like, holy shit, Beth is so cool.
That was such a wild thing because it's a real estate book, by the way. Like it's for realtors, it's for early career agents, how to be consistent 6-figure agents every single year of your career. I think everyone's like, when's the book about your life or just all about working with investing? When's that book coming out? Yeah, probably never. Too tired. Even with AI, I'm too tired. Like I'm right now, I'm so shoulder deep in AI that like me writing a book is just, it doesn't even seem like it's important.
And like there's a place for AI, right? But I don't think content is that place. I think people thought, and Josh and I were just talking about this, AI was super cool when it first came out to help you like get through a writer's block or something. But then people just leaned into it way too hard. And you can tell who's full of AI bullshit, and then you can tell who's still using their brain. And who's still using their brain and who's working to build their wisdom are the ones who are going to succeed through this AI bubble. I don't even know if it is a bubble. It's a monument, I think. But
version 1.0 AI is like the M dashes, the right, like I can't take it, right? So that part of my AI journey is past, that ship has sailed. I'm in AI agent journey where I'm entering the world now of having AI agents run your company and your business. And so it's AI version 2 of me is cleaning up my house. Like every file, every folder, every CRM, like rebuilding it in a way that I never could have done as a human, or I would have had to pay thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars and still had so much oversight. So AI now 3.0 for me is really understanding building out agents and employees. Again, a lot of quality control is needed, a lot of oversight, but it is happening so fast that I feel if I don't keep up with it, I'm going to get behind and then I'm going to be too scared to use the technology.
And let's talk about AI agents because, when I first heard that term, I was like, we're going to have to specify, especially when newer real estate agents are listening and they're like, what is an AI agent? So let's talk about that, Beth. What are you building?
Yeah, the easiest way to think about it is an employee, especially like a VA, right? Or a TC, or somebody who's going to be in your CRMs, updating emails, sending follow-ups, sending you, it's like an assistant, your daily briefing. So the difference in an AI agent versus just AI is that an agent can make decisions without me present. And so you truly are giving the agent the power to be decisive in your absence. I'm sure a lot of people have heard that Mark Zuck is now going to have AI agents having full-on meetings with his Meta staff and making full decisions. And this is scary to some people, but this is where the world is now moving. And so we have a responsibility to learn it And somebody, Tony Robbins and Dean Grazioso are in the middle of doing this free 3-day thing for all of humanity. It's every single day. Today's day 2. It's like 3 hours every afternoon. And this one girl they had on yesterday, she said, AI without soul is spam. And it's up to us to teach our AI agents and our AI about our soul, because that is what is going to save humanity. I found that to be very interesting.
That is super interesting. How do you decide what level of autonomy and decision making authority to give your AI agents?
It's such a good question, because it's exactly like analyzing if you're going to invest in something. You have to know your risk level, your risk tolerance. Are you risk averse? So for example, my fiance is with a very private company, and he's like a Claude genius. He's like building out all these apps that are like mind numbing, but he can't use any of that for his company, for his work, like, because they use Teams. He can't have any of his company's information in an AI system. And so the small tools that he's built out for work, they have to change like what they're prompting it. And so that's one part of the equation. There's always going to be some level of people who just like can't use it because of trade secrets and privacy. So when it comes to your own life, you have to decide, at what level am I willing to share? Like, I have a family member who to this day like keeps a Band-Aid over the camera on her computer because she's like afraid that like people are watching her. I've always led with, if God and the NSA are watching me, at least I'm going to be entertaining.
But like the guys that are at the top of all of those companies with webcams, with social media, they all cover their fucking webcams too. It's crazy. I think about it from time to time, how often I'm just naked in front of it, like all these devices around, the shit that I say, the shit that I do. It's just nuts. And so I'm like, well, I'm literally fucked. If anything happens, remember, I'm already fucked. So.
But the guys at the top have proprietary information and lifestyles, and it's a key safety measure to why they have to have such intense security. Whereas there's not, like, if I walk around naked, like, there's a million hot people on OnlyFans or just giving it away for free. Like, no one's going to be interested in what I have going on. So you really have to decide risk versus benefits for your own life. And it is not a one size fits all. You need to decide what's more important and, what is safe. Because again, if you're having your AI review your P&L statements, that AI now has access to every dime, every dollar. You would have to redact account numbers. So like, you have to really understand what is your risk tolerance when it comes to this level of technology. And unfortunately, in the broader stroke, like as humanity, we can't keep up with this. We know we're not set up to handle this correctly. We know, and I don't have kids, so my hope is like I'm going to be long dead before the robots take over.
Yeah, I don't think so. I think we'll see Terminator days. I mean, who knows? So
it is. So this is why I really resonated with me what this woman said yesterday. If we have AI without soul, it's spam. And there was a scientist on the news, I want to say like a year ago when this all started, and he was saying, if we don't teach it to be human, like we will lose humanity. We're so busy sharing prompts and being prompt engineers with each other, and we're giving it prompts to get the best result. And we are literally leaving out any of the soft humanity, compassion, and empathy that makes human beings human. That's what separates us from machines. And so this is a fascinating thing that I think we're going to get behind as a civilization. And who knows where this all goes. But
I know.
Maybe one day they'll look and be like, see, they were talking about it. They knew they should have put these safety measures in place, but they were too squirrel about AI and moving us into the mega future. Yeah, it's wild. Shit's scary. And then I think to myself, but would an AI doctor have been better than my oncologist when, I was 26, and I remember she said to me, like, one of my sons is your age. And so I needed someone to be very matter of fact and non-emotional, which she was, because she tells people every single day they are going to die, right? But I needed to be able to look at her eyes. This is something I don't really talk about, but part of my cancer journey and my 17 surgeries and all the years of chemo, when I was going on the operating table a million times, your doctors, they all have their surgical masks on, but you're staring up into their eyes before you get sedated. And my oncologist, I could close my eyes right now. It's been 21 years since my diagnosis, but I can close my eyes and see every single one of my physician's eyes. And so can AI do that? And that's this human touch that I think, we're going to have to figure it out. But thank God I'm not one of those smart people at the top. It's not my job. I just want to sell some houses.
I just got full body chills with that story. It's so true. AI can't replace wisdom, and AI can't replace connection.
AI can't replace the palliative care nurse, right? Like, AI can certainly do a better job than and I love nurses everywhere. Thank God for you. But some of them are so exhausted, so overworked. We know our medical system is so broken. And so an AI robot can certainly administer with precise perfection drugs around the clock, but an AI robot cannot take the place of a palliative care specialist when you're done.
They should be able to, like, check my vitals, wipe my ass, like, do whatever needs to be, change my bed, like, whatever. But when it comes to exactly what you were talking about, that's so true.
Yeah. So we'll see how this advances. But when it comes to real estate, people are like, oh, AI is taking your job. I certainly believe AI is going to come for a lot of the job force. When it comes to real estate, though, there's just still so much emotion involved. So I'd be happy if AI can give you everything you need to know about your finances, can tell you how to get your FICO score up, can tell you what you're qualified for, can recommend the best lenders, realtors, whatever, can show you all the houses, can give you 3D tours, can unlock doors robotically. I'd love for that. But at the end of the day, I am convinced that every single one of my clients wants me. They want a connection. They need to look at my eyes and let me show them why this is the right home or investment for them.
And I truly believe that I'm not one of those sky is falling, AI is going to replace real estate agents, people. I think that the low skilled agents feel that way. And then it's going to separate the men from the boys, right? So what do you say? What do you say to those people that, the ignorant consumer or anybody that says AI is going to replace real estate agents?
Well, the ignorant consumer isn't my consumer, so I don't really have time to listen to those opinions. Remember, if you can't deposit somebody's opinion in your bank account, it's meaningless. So at the end of the day, I'm looking for the people who are looking for me. So if you're somebody who is uneducated and wants to be educated, wants to understand the process fully, because knowledge is always power, not less, always more. So I'm looking for the people who want to truly understand how to position themselves in the best way for their financial future, whether that's buying their first home, whether what the strategy is then over life, how to have your tax strategy in place, how to buy your first income property, when is the right time to sell, is there a right time to sell, etc.
Josh, what you got, man?
Taking it in. So I've had limited knowledge of Beth, and actually this last week when Sandy Lynn sent me the Instagram, I purposely didn't look, I just was like, I want to go into this, and I'm just amazed at this conversation and the level of this conversation. You've said some stuff in here that just like is mind blowing. So yeah, I'm just enjoying the ride at this point.
Well, I love that. Why the two of us have gotten along so well is, number one, you're so smart and fast and sharp, because I vibe with women that move quickly, speak quickly. And I love anyone who is willing to voice memo. Let's be clear. Number one, I'm about to be 49. I have multiple pairs of glasses and none of them work. So even typing on a phone that's too long, if I can't voice dump, and voice to text is stupid because then you still have to read and go back. You hold down that microphone and just talk and then launch it. And the best part is it feels like you're having a phone conversation where no one gets interrupted because you get to like say your full thoughts. So we voice memo each other. And that's like, if you look at our Instagram chat history, like it's just all voice memos. And so it feels like you're just having a great conversation. So I appreciate that in our friendship over the years.
Absolutely.
No is one of my favorite words, by the way. The speech is the power of yes. And it's about how to create opportunities that people can say yes to. And so that's how I built my whole business, I don't believe you have to have the client first. I think this is the biggest myth of every realtor. They're like, oh my God, I need a buyer in order to show a house. But why? What if you found an opportunity and then spoke about it with such vigor and passion on your social media to your friend circles, and you presented an opportunity? I have built my business on finding the opportunity and knowing that the people will come, and the people who come have the money.
And that's the thing about opportunity, right? So there's nobody, I don't have an audience for this show yet. I was very honest with every single person I reached out to. I said, this is a brand new show. I'd like you to consider coming on being a guest, but it's not like I have anything to offer yet. I don't have an audience for this show yet. But you know what I found super interesting, Beth, was the people that I reached out to with the highest follower account and the best personalities, the biggest personalities, were the first ones to say yes. Yes, thank you for thinking of me, would love to. And then the other ones, they didn't really seize the opportunity so quickly. I don't know. Tell me a little more about it. I found that very interesting.
I think that has a lot to do with you. So you've got to take a little bit of credit for what you've built, because it has to do with who you are and what we know about you. If somebody I didn't know, because I get these cold calls to go on podcasts and to teach often, and there are times I have to say no because I don't, and trust me, I'll do deep research if I don't know a person. So please understand that I think that has a lot to do with you. And
well, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Well, I did consider it a huge compliment because, again, it's a brand new show that I'm launching. I truly believe that agents need this. I believe that they need a tiny dose in real estate every day that's a little bit different, that's going to give them a little bit of entertainment. Who knows where the conversation will go, but it doesn't matter what brokerage they're with, they don't need to switch brokerages or do anything crazy to build a network of who is who, start learning who's who in the industry, build connection. I think that this show can truly do that for people instead of having to scroll through, and nothing against Inman, but I don't have time to read through articles every day. But what if we could just talk about a few articles that came out and bullshit about it, or whatever the latest hot goss is in real estate, and who knows,
Well, you can set up your AI agent in your morning brief to have already read all of the Inman articles for the day, and then to summarize and also present the ones that are the most meaningful in your business. So what I found, there were some big speakers on this thing yesterday, and one of the guys, his AI agent reads through all of the AI news and then sums it up. And so it goes through about 99 different channels and then sums it up into his daily brief. So I think that's a beautiful thing about AI as well, that it knows what you want to see. Oftentimes Instagram and Facebook and the algorithm thinks it knows what you want to see, especially if you have your voice data turned on. So then, you're having a conversation with your spouse about watches. So now every watch is now in my feed, right? Sometimes I'll just go to my phone and be like, hamburgers. And like, then, and just like put it down. And then, in my feed, now I'm going to get like the best burger recommendations, recipes. So I think AI allows us to just make that hypersonic, but really tailor it for what we need without an algorithm deciding.
It's kind of funny because the brokerage that I've built is, similar to EXP and Real and all of those in that it's, nationally expanding. But producer Brian, I served with him in the Marines. He happens to live locally. And so part of his currency that he's paid in is he'll come over once or twice a week, and then we'll like DoorDash food, and then we'll like veg out on endless episodes of whatever show we're on, right? And so it's so funny because if his phone thinks it's a night he should come over, or if he comes over and let's say I'm cooking something instead, DoorDash starts to like blow him up, and it's hilarious.
So again, this is where that whole safety thing and the risk tolerance comes in, because I have surrendered to all of that at this point in my life. There are some people that still freaks them out. And so I've just like, I'm into it because at the end of the day, it's designed to help your life. Somebody on the other end is always going to profit, you guys. This is the world we live in, but it is designed to make your life easier. Or maybe it's designed to make us all really dumb, right? And we're just products of this giant machine. But I'm not going to run away in the conspiracy theory at this point.
Well, I truly believe that it is designed to control us. However, we still have free fucking thinking. Like, we can decide, again, we're separating the men from the boys. We can decide how we are going to use it. And I love everything you're saying because I know that stuff exists, but I haven't made it a priority at all. And if I just dedicate a few hours a week to building it out and training it better and everything, I mean, I really should make it a priority and train some agents and stuff.
Once you go into the rabbit hole, so I want you to know this is very new for me, getting into this next version, right? Like this is, and so I was a little bit afraid in the beginning because, I find myself to be a little technologically challenged. I push myself all the time. And again, I know this has to do with the fact that I'm going to be 49. Like, it's just the fact that like, if I don't get a new phone, like every 2 to 3 years, I get scared because then I'm going to get behind, and I don't want to get behind. Like, it's more of a fear thing for me, but I'm a little technologically challenged with certain things. And so I just have to always say to myself, like, don't be afraid, just figure it out. I know, because I'm really smart. But I will tell you, once you start to go into the rabbit hole, like you really get in deep and you're like, okay, this is pretty badass what this can do in the background so that I can really, A, be out there just client facing, or B, be out there, in my case, with the love of my life, smoking a cigar, enjoying our beautiful home. Like, that's the win.
So for real estate agents listening, how should they enter this rabbit hole? Like, what's the least intimidating way? Do you have any like course recommendations or anything you want to throw out there?
Don't take a course. Don't listen to a guru, because by the time a course comes out, it's all changed. So advice number 1, be agile and fluid, and understand that society is really figuring this out together in real time. Understand that what works for somebody might not work for you. So what's important is, I do feel that like ChatGPT is kind of like being on like MySpace, right? Like, I think it is really good for where it's at, but I do believe that Claude is really amazing. Perplexity, so I think those two. I do also strongly believe the paid version of Claude, which is $17 to $20 a month, depending on if you pay it for the year up front, it really does change the features and the memory of the brain of the AI. So the free version actually won't cut it. So that's step 1. And so again, if you're a new agent and you're constantly money conscious, you have to understand that this really is going to help your business. So the first thing I would do is I would be using Claude as my CRM partner and manager. Like I would be connecting everything to Claude, my Gmail, my Canva, my Calendly, my Zoom, my CRM, like everything you can connect to it in the connectors in your settings. You're going to connect your files. The coolest thing about a file is this. I think every realtor can vibe with this. You're out, so you're either in the field with clients or you're out at dinner, whatever, and you don't have your computer with you. You obviously have your phone. We can all do a lot of work from our phones, but the files that you need are literally on your computer. So now you're either already, if you're high anxiety like me, you're stressed out during dinner, you're now not being present with your family and friends, or you're with a client and you're like thinking, how soon can I get through with the showings? I need to race home because I need to send these documents because the world is on fire. If you had an AI agent that's in your files, because you have to give it specific permission to be in those downloadable files, I could literally send a message through my phone to Claude to be like, hey, go into this file, retrieve this, get this set up for signatures, and then send it. Like, so it becomes like a TC and this, but it's so dialed in. So I would want a new agent to think of it like your systems and ops manager. So ops manager. Now, that's how I would use it as a new agent, because at the end of the day, you could hire it to just be your social media manager and to just write your content and to just tell you what to do. But like for me, that's not generating business immediately. Like you're not you don't have a fucking brand when you're a brand new agent, dude.
Mm-hmm.
Like you don't have a logo, you don't need cool colors, you don't even need business cards. Like
amen.
Find a buyer and find a seller and find a renter and find an investor. Find people that you can say, I am a realtor and these are the 5 houses that I've already previewed. These are the opportunities. I've already previewed these 5 houses under this amount that you could own for this much money. Who do you know that's looking for this opportunity? I'm looking for the people that want to say yes. And like, so AI, I would say you should use it as a system CRM follow-up, because CRMs, we all get one. We join a brokerage, no matter what brokerage you get one, and they are hard and they suck. And there's a learning curve. But if you're not keeping track of every human you have a conversation with, and so why not have a conversation and then voice dump it into Claude and be like, I'm sitting here talking to this guy, John. I'm at the cigar bar. This is what he does for a living. This is where he said he lives. I know he's going to want to sell in the next year. Da, 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 da. You're voice dumping it to Claude. Claude is now putting it into your CRM. So you never have to open it, right? Like, and then Claude is setting the follow-ups for you and setting the automation. So as a new agent for me, I'm partnering with Claude as a director of ops and as a system admin. And I'm telling Claude who I am and the result I'm looking to achieve. And then if you start with the bread and then let Claude fill in the sandwich of how it's going to get there.
So how long have you been building this out with Claude, and do you have any wins or little success stories yet from it?
I started using the paid version of Claude 3 weeks ago. I have been on ChatGPT,
which is a fucking eternity. That's an eternity ago in AI world, by the way.
I was the 0.1% first person on ChatGPT on OpenAI. And so I was in beta. And so ChatGPT and you get your you get like your Spotify stats. OpenAI sends you your stats yearly, and you get to see how many messages, conversations, how many things you built, whatever. So when everyone kept saying Claude, I was afraid because I'm a human.
Because GPT has my brain now. Like I've poured a lot into it so far. It knows me, but I don't know that I don't have a great relationship with him. To be honest.
Okay, so the best part is when you go on Claude, if you set it up and you use the free version, sorry about it. But if you go, so your very first time you're going to go on Claude, you're going to set it up using the $20 version. You're going to, when you go into your settings to tell it about who you are, there's a point where it says connect your AI memory from other AIs. And so you're going to click a little button. It gives you the prompt. You're going to go ahead and paste that into GPT. GPT is going to spit out an answer, and then you're going to paste that into Claude. Your memory is updated in 2 seconds. But then you're going to say, hey, Claude, ChatGPT knew a younger version of me, an older version of me. I don't know that I'm that person anymore. But based on all of those things, this is the level that I'm at right now, and this is where I'm headed. What's our next step? And then Claude is going to start asking you the questions to really define your speaking style, your vocal style, etc. So it's a 2-second transfer to get every GPT. By the way, I'm still right now paying the $20 a month for OpenAI, for ChatGPT. Here's why. Because when you get good at Claude, you realize like it takes tokens, it takes time, and you realize that GPT is still great for like my stupid caption, because like I'll have everything working in the background. Right now, I have Claude, I have the Claude Chrome extension. So I have Claude Desktop doing today, it's been going through 20,000 files for me. We've been doing this since like 6 a.m. It has 40 left to go. It's almost done. And then I have the Claude Chrome extension on the side, unsubscribing me from every promotional email, every subscription email that I don't want anymore, so I don't have to sit there and click unsubscribe. It's making a list of every single thing I've never opened, things I haven't opened in longer than 3 months, things that I just never click on. And it's separating anything I've even like opened even once in the last like 6 months, so it doesn't delete those by accident, but it's unsubscribing me from everything simultaneously on the side menu, while Claude Desktop is literally rearranging every single transaction that I've had since 2020 in date order, alphabetized, like and also the other project that we've done for the last 2 days is completely build out, we're rebuilding out my CRM. So I had to go to my brokerage and I had to go to the transaction specialist, and I was like, I need a CSV of every transaction I've done in the last 5 years. I don't need the commissions. I just need the address. And so from the address, I'm now pulling from my Gmail, the client, their email, their phone number. So I've been doing this for 2 days. I just finished today. So now I'm about to reload that back into Claude. And then Claude is going to update, because I started with a new CRM called Cloze, CLOZE.
Yep.
Really good into like texting your clients, and you don't need like your IDX connected just yet. But Claude is now going to take all of that and redo my whole close and color code. And Claude is going to now set up all the automations for me, all the follow-ups. So like, these are things that I was dreading doing. My biggest opportunity as a realtor is that I don't like my CRMs. And Sandy, you've known this about me. I'm a whiteboard girl. So I have this 6-foot whiteboard that would blow your mind. So I took pictures of every row on the whiteboard, loaded it into Claude. Claude said, I'm creating your command center. And so then I don't like digital calendars. I'm like this old school girl. Like, my calendar is huge on my wall in front of me. So I could just take a picture of it and then put the picture into Claude, and Claude is now digitizing everything.
That is incredible. I love it.
So
it's basically like, again, not any guru, it's like basically you and Claude working together to be like, hey, what should I do next?
Yes, because remember, a guru is a lie, right? Like, I hate that whole, we are all so jaded by coaches and this and that, like, ugh. And the people who give you the most value are the ones who give it all for free. Like, give, maybe take on the 4th, 5th, or 6th. Like, my boy Phil Stringer, I'm sure you know him. He's one of the foremost AI coaches in the world, and he coaches across platforms. So I went to a few of his Claude free webinars, and I went to a bunch of them on this exact same topic, because it wasn't until the 3rd one that it felt familiar. Like, it felt like I wasn't like, oh my God, what is he saying? So then I would have a screen side by side, so the 3rd or 4th time, and now he's doing like a workshop. It's a paid workshop. I believe it's affordable. It's paid 2 hours, where he's really going step by step to build out your AI. And so like I've told a lot of my agents about it. I'm like, all you should do is have your paid version ready, but then do nothing else, and put it on your big screen TV, and then sit there with your computer, and it's a 2-hour workshop. So, and then you get the replay, you can pause it.
I love it.
Yeah. I think, realtors need to understand that when you're new, it's hard. When you're in the middle of your career and you plateaued, it's hard. When the market shifts, it's hard. When you become complacent, it's hard. And if we could all lean into, oh, it's just hard every day, but if I stay consistent every single day, suddenly it's not as hard. I found that every time we take a day off, we lose, this is just a statistic fact, you lose 10% momentum. So if you're trying to have your fitness journey, right, and you're going to the gym every single day, you take, or let's say you're going to the gym Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and like that's your thing. You take a Wednesday off, you've now lost 10% momentum. Friday, you've now lost a huge chunk of Friday just trying to recapture Wednesday, recapture the energy, the momentum, the muscle, right? So I remember in my younger career being guilty of coasting. Like you'd get a deal and then you'd go out with your friends, right? Like, and when I really got serious about my business, which was during COVID, I couldn't go out anymore. So I couldn't be around my friends. I couldn't go out. So I had no other choice but to be so dialed in every single day. And I worked 61 days in a row, about 10 to 14 hours a day without one day off. And I came out of the gates of COVID swinging, and my career has been on such a rise ever since. And then I put all the measures in place of buying income properties, paying off all my debt, buying multiple properties. So when a year like 2024 happened, so January is going, January, I'm kicking ass. And 2-3 weeks into January, I meet who's now the love of my life. Like, what else? This is amazing. February, the third week of February, my brother is tragically killed. And my world stops. And I don't work for like 2 months at least. And I get back to work in this new altered sense in my life. And I get to September. Helene hits. 37 of my clients have catastrophically lost everything. I've had to evacuate. We get back. Milton hits. We evacuate again. I lose my roof. My community is further devastated. It is an absolute game changer. 10 days after we got water and power back, I went to check on a listing. I was hit by a truck. My car, my Jaguar that I had gotten a year and a half earlier, was totaled. I came out mostly unscathed. Now we are in December. I take a fall in a restaurant, hit my head through a wall. So I worked 5 months total in 2024. I sold 20 homes in 2024. That's half the amount of homes that I sell every year. Now, if you look at the stats, the average realtor in 2024 sold 4.7 homes. So I still crushed it in life. However, I earned 50% of the money that I normally earn from real estate production. What carried me through? I have multiple properties that I have income. I have revenue share. So I have ancillary revenue, I have digital products, and I obviously I make a good earning even on 20 homes. People will be happy with that amount of money, right? So I have prepared myself and I grind for really in 2020, I made a mental decision. I'm going to grind. I did not take my foot off the gas at all. So when a year like 2024 hit and I only worked half the amount of time, nothing in my life changed. In fact, I purchased 2 homes. And 2025 hit and, you know, I ended the year at just 39 units. I crushed. I was right back at it. And trust me, 2025 hasn't been without its struggles. I mean, we bought our dream home in December. We moved in December 15th. And December 26th, we had a clean water plumbing break and our new home flooded. And we then had to move out. And my fiance had, lost his job of 13 years, a C-suite executive, the day after we closed. So now we're going to be on a 1 salary house. Then the house floods. Now it's like we're in this $85,000 insurance thing. Now we're moving back into the home 2 months later. He's about to start his new career. And they're not even done painting. Like life is wild, right? So all we can do is control. And for me, what I can control is the level I'm willing to work every single day. The output that I give is what I am going to get in return. Where focus goes, energy flows. And where the energy flows, you're going to get the return. There's an automatic ROI on your output. Like it's automatic, right? So if I only
Yeah.
do 20%, I'm only getting 20%. Don't expect $1 million return with a part-time work ethic. It ain't going to happen.
Amen. I remember that you went through some of that. I remembered about your brother. I remembered about, obviously, the hurricanes and stuff, but I had no idea about your car accident or your fall or anything like that. And I actually didn't even know you got engaged. I didn't even know that. So, wow, it's just...
Oh, wait, you can't miss this.
No, I can't. It is gorgeous. But no, I'm so happy for you. But I am happy for you that you did, it truly is a success story to have such a catastrophic year, such a devastating year happen to you, but have it not ruin your fucking life.
This is the thing. Mm-hmm. You can bury your head in the sand, or you can choose to fight like hell. Whether or not you get out of bed, the day is going to happen. And obviously beating cancer. So first of all of you guys, thank you for your service. I find that my military friends have the most in common with my young adult cancer survivor friends, because especially when you're deployed and you go to war, it is a very similar feeling to treatment. Some of your friends die, some of them lose limbs. It's the same as young adult cancer survivors. So I had put the young wounded warriors and young adult cancer survivors, we actually got our organizations together back in the day. Lots of marriages and babies came from it, because you know how when you come back from being deployed, they tell you it's your new normal. That's how you feel after cancer, and after you're because you missed so much of life. Everyone else's life kept moving.
Yes, and then you're changed forever, and you're staring at everybody else why are you just acting normal? It's crazy.
So
it's a surreal feeling. I would have never thought of it that way, but you're so right. The two really do kind of line up. I'll be damned.
Yeah, because it's things that you'll never talk about with regular people. I'm not going to talk about chemo. You don't talk about having to kill someone or what things you see. We don't,
because I can't understand it. I physically never went through it, so I can't understand it. And then, yes, exactly. My brothers and sisters physically went through it. They can understand it. That's so true.
So I feel like being a human is all about connection, right? And I think the first connection we always need to build is the one with ourselves. Connect. I give everybody permission to connect to themselves, and that means you have to disconnect from your phone, you have to disconnect from your television, you actually have to sit in a very uncomfortable silence and connect with yourself. And you got to start at the very basics of reminding yourself okay, I will if you will. Say that shit in the mirror every day, and we're going to be okay. We're going to figure this out. I got us. Let's do this. I'm willing if you're willing. And you really have to start with yourself by hyping yourself up, learning how to get rid of the negative self-speak, and then committing to yourself that you can succeed, whatever the goal is. If it's real estate, if it's the gym, if it's in love, if it's at mending a relationship with a family member, if it's at finances, make the goal and then commit. And when you commit to something, I don't know, you don't just commit one time. You literally have to recommit pretty much every single day. And the way you recommit is by showing up and putting in the work.
I love that. That's so true. What were you going to say, Josh? You go, Josh.
I'm blown away. The amount of information has been phenomenal. I think one of the things you said that was really interesting that I think any agent, but especially younger agents, should really pay attention to is you told us a story about your year of 24, kind of into 25. And obviously you dealt with some rough times, but the thing that you said the most is, I'm going to focus on what I can control. And I think understanding life's going to happen, but you taking ownership of that situation and taking ownership of the things that you can control, I think is such a valuable lesson for agents, because all too often they're all stuck in things that just don't matter. outside their control, the market this, the market that. And so I think anytime we have someone in a leadership role talking about that, it's so important for the industry.
And I think you have to safeguard your health and safety. Like when things feel out of control, the last thing you need to do is go to the bar, is party, like I feel like health and wellness is so important. Like it's so easy to say, like, I had a shitty day, I'm going to go to the bar and like have a drink, or I'm going to surround myself with people who, like, you just can't do that, especially when you're feeling vulnerable. It's just way too easy to throw your whole life away. And so, being alone, and you have to really get comfortable being with yourself. And sometimes when you can't control things, you just have to surrender. Like, and I don't mean make that sound like, oh, Alcoholics Anonymous or shit like that. But I mean, you have to just really surrender to the fact that you have to remind your body, I'm physically safe. Unfortunately, I'm a high anxiety person, so my cortisol levels are constantly going. You could see in my videos, like 2017 to 2021, I was pretty healthy, pretty fit. You see that I started to gain weight 2022. In 2023, you see I was really heavy and I was uncomfortable in my life. And then you see I really took control and made major life changes to get everything in check. Blood pressure, my A1C. And so I feel like it would have been so easy for me to just hang out at the bar and drink or go to the beach, not work. And I had to make a very big conscious decision that that's not the life that I dreamt for myself, and I wasn't going to settle.
There's like something that I kind of tell myself is, how much do I want to be worth someday? Who do I want to be someday? And once I painted this picture of myself, every decision that I make, every day that I'm walking around, I'm like, is this what, Sandy worth $300 million is going to do? Is this what Sandy worth this much? Is this what Sandy, the future of myself? I'm like, who am I and what does she do? And so I just become her today, and all of my actions are that person in the future. If that makes sense.
I love that. And you can have your AI talk to you as if you can say, talk to me as if I am the CEO of a 8-figure organization. So it will speak differently. I wish I could tell my younger self, all the things we wish we could change about our life, but I wish I had grace or compassion for myself. Like, cause I pushed myself so hard. I just I spent so long of my life feeling like I was not worthy of love if I did not achieve this specific success in my career and a specific amount of money in my bank account, because that's what I was taught. And so I didn't really find a lot of simple joy and happiness in all of the small wins. Like, I had just a very high expectation of myself that no, like this, you don't celebrate your small wins. How dare you? Like, you don't reward yourself or treat yourself. That's not how life works. Like, you do this because you want this. And like, I just wish I was a little softer with myself. And this is something that I'm just starting to like come to grips with. My fiance.
Well, it's interesting that you say that, Beth, because I'm not soft on myself at all. So hearing you say that is like, oh my gosh, you've achieved compassion for yourself. Tell me what that's like. Because I am so hard on myself. It's so rare that I find a win to celebrate. And I have to say this because I actually called my business partner, Holly. She used to be the Iowa broker at EXP for many years, and now she's my business partner at this brokerage. And I called her and I go, I never stop ever to celebrate anything, because you're right, I'm not where I want to be yet, right? So how dare I, right? However, my Texas broker had posted a reel, and somebody in the background, my Texas broker is Farm and Ranch. And so she posted a reel, and the person in the background had like the big ass sign up, and it was like a really cool reel. And that sign was like my logo, my brokerage, all the way in Texas on a big fucking Farm and Ranch, sign. And then the first like on it was the West Virginia broker for my brokerage. And then it's like, Josh here is my South Dakota broker, and like has become a super, super good friend. And he's given so much to our brokerage, lead generation, for the agents and all kinds of training. And I just stopped in my tracks and was like, oh my God, like this has happened in 1 year. All of these people have come together, and look at them supporting each other. And it really stopped me in my tracks. And I did allow myself to like sit back and appreciate that. But it took something huge like that, because I feel like it's huge, but I mean, I still feel like it's a little win. And really that's not that little, but in my mind it is. But think about like 27-year-old Sandy making fucking $29,000 a year at a job, at a salaried position, would look at that and be like, holy shit.
And that's the thing. We're so short-sighted. And I see this with real estate investors. Like, it is a long-term play. Unless you're in a flip and you don't make long-term wealth on a short-term gain, it is a long-term play. Buying your first home. Think of our parents. That's a 30-year mortgage. It wasn't supposed to make you money because we had a COVID market. No, it was supposed to help you retire. It was supposed to be paid off by the time you were going to retire. So now you could decide what to do with that money. And so for me, it's a life is a long-term play. And when you now, my fiance turned 49 last week. I'll be 49 in a few weeks. Now that the first half of our life is over and the back half is going real fast, people, it's just flying, and you want so bad to slow it down, and you cannot stop this train. And you realize that I think younger Beth, I think she definitely always wanted this. Like, I wanted to be a success. I wanted to be a big fucking deal. But I think when I was broke and crying and freaking out about how I was going to pay rent, I don't think I could have actually envisioned what it means to have a lot of money in the bank and a lot of homes and no debt and be financially safe. And by the way, there are still moments when I sit here and I'm like, I don't know, I'm scared. Like, I made a really big purchase of something, a little known fact about me. I don't make extravagant purchases. I sit on them for like a year or two. I will carry the same bag for 10 years. I can't, if it's a house, it's different because that's a house. But I bought myself an extravagant watch recently, and I hemmed and hawed over this. And it took a few of my business partners, my mother-in-law, it took so many people saying, like, you never do anything for yourself. Like, you have to take, and one of my friends was like, well, it's like an investment. No, it ain't. It's a piece of jewelry that I like looking at that maybe I'll wear for 10 years, but it ain't an investment. A house is an investment. So of course I'm beating myself up that money could have done a lot, and so those are the things that I still struggle with, but what a great problem to have. And if
it is an investment, though, I have to argue with you on that. I do have to say, I wish I would have bought more luxury, not like went crazy, but like bought more luxury items through my life just a little bit, because I look at people and they're like, oh, this is vintage, it's now worth blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, well, fuck, I wish I did invest in that shit. I could have fucking enjoyed it a little bit, and then I could have passed it down to my child.
Houses.
I can't enjoy several houses, though. I can only enjoy one house. Well, unless there's a vacation home.
The cash flow and the tax depreciations, and then you get to will it to your kids, and the taxes fall off. It's like, first of all, you literally need to have a child to be wealthy, and like, which is so wow, right? Because kids cost like what, $350,000 just to get them from 0 to 18. But like,
oh yeah,
but now that I'm learning wealth, and really understanding the tax codes and whatever, you gotta have kids to really make it. A state attorney made me cry the other day. It made me feel like a piece of shit because I don't have kids. And I didn't even get so far as to say, well, I got cancer at 26. Like, I was having bilateral mastectomies, and I wasn't. I missed my fertile years. Sorry, homie. Like, I was busy trying not to die, but he made me feel so terrible. And I was like, well, I have beneficiaries. Like, no, because you can't do all the things that you can do with children. Like, you need a child so again, estate
So
planning.
Donald Trump made a strategic decision. I knew that man was smart.
Yeah, I mean, you wonder why wealthy people have so many kids. I mean,
Yes.
I remember saying to my dad, like, you have 7 kids, like 4 from the OGs, 3 from the replacements. Like, he needed to be very wealthy because, yeah.
Well,
so
after we find our stride and do this for a while and we start live streaming and stuff, I would love to have you back and talk about that shit, like the tax codes and the specifics that you've started to learn inside and out, because I'm fascinated by that stuff and extremely intimidated by it. I don't know it yet, but I want to learn those little things that can, help me in the future,
You got to follow, just for entertainment, this Instagram account. His name is Ben Nader, Nader. He is a tax code expert, and his whole Instagram is him blowing up losers and gurus who are like, you can write off your wedding, you can write off your Rolex, and even famous people. And dude, I love him because, number one, he's brilliant. He's not nice. He goes in so hard, but like, he knows the tax code by heart, and I learned so much. But like, you hear all these idiots, and then they're like big gurus with millions of followers, and they're like, hey, use this deduction. Like, they're not totally wrong on some of the advice, but this dude Ben is like, no, this is what the tax code actually says. So I learned so much, and it's so entertaining.
Thank you. I'll definitely. I mean, my other favorite thing about producer Brian is I didn't even have to take that note because he already did, and he's probably already put it in the chats and everything. So I will definitely give him a follow. Yeah. Thank you. My last question for you before we wrap this up, I do want to know this. I was thinking about this while you were talking about everything. If you had to, let's just say life forced you to do this, okay? You move to a completely new area. I don't even want to name a city or state, but you don't know anybody there. Okay. How do you have $1,000 to spend on your real estate career. You are licensed in that state now. How do you earn income quickly? What do you do?
Yeah. So 2017, Beth, I was licensed in Maryland for 7 years, and I moved the business to Florida in 2017, where I knew only one person and only one neighborhood. I moved here on a hope, a prayer, and a whim. And I took every actionable step to break into the luxury condo market. I was up and down the streets. I previewed every single property. I think when you're going to a new place, if you need money quickly, you may need to join a team. However, and I'm a solo agent. I don't do the team thing, but if you need money quickly, if you move with literally no reserves and you didn't have the ability, because I moved to an area where, guess what? Realtors don't do rentals here, which I was like, wait, what do you mean? Because obviously rentals in almost every city and state in the country, you would make 40 to 50% of one half of a month of rent. That's typically how rentals go around the nation. New York's a little bit different. Miami's a little different. So I get here, and even in my early career in Baltimore, I always knew to turn rentals in between buyers and sellers, right? And I'd be working on my renters to turn them into first-time buyers. And so I get here and they're like, no, we don't do rentals here. And I'm like, well, what are you talking about? Well, so the renter's agent only gets paid $50. They're not even in the MLS. The leasing agent, it's usually property manager. So I hear this. So that That strategy is already gone. So now I think I'm going to break into this luxury condo market, and I'm taking every actionable step to make it happen, swear. And I joined a big box brokerage's Coldwell Banker, never do that. And because they had a location on Beach Drive and I could do floor duty. So I could put my image, my stuff, I could have conversations, right? And I did that and it wasn't working. So I had to take it back to basics. And I went back to what had made me successful in my former market, which was working with investors. And what it was creating opportunities. And I talk, my whole Power of Yes speech talks about this, where I knew that I was helping my hospitality and bartender friends overcome their problem by presenting them an opportunity of an FHA, of house hacking. And so I remembered, like, I didn't need the client back then. I had the opportunity. So I was like, okay, what are the opportunities in my new market? And for me, the opportunity in 2018 in St. Pete, Florida, was to become the greatest Airbnb specialist in the world. Agents weren't doing it. There was no Air DNA. There was no button on the MLS that showed me where it was legal to operate, but I knew it was a big thing. So I learned everything I could about it, read every book. There was no AI. I used Google. I learned everything I could. I would go to the city zoning. I would get the zoning maps. I hung them as art in my condo on the wall, and I would study them. I would go see the real estate. I would reverse the numbers. So now I had opportunities, right? Every week I would see 20 properties and I would find 2 or 3 that would make a good Airbnb. Then I would go on my Facebook, I would pick up the phone and call every single person that I knew from Maryland and New York. And I would say, I found an opportunity. This is the money that you need to buy it. Are you in or are you in? And my friends from New York and Maryland, people that had made money with me, they were like, I'm in. And that is how I became one of the biggest Airbnb agents, followed by one of the biggest pad split agents. I never waited for the client. I found the opportunity first, figured out the money that would have cost to buy it, and then I talked about it on social media and by texting and calling people that I knew. If they weren't interested, who cares? Then they'd be like, wait, but can you keep me on your list for future opportunities? Or I could say, do I have your permission to add you to my list in case you ever want to make a move? And if you ever come across somebody who wants to make a move, or I had friends from high school Facebook messaging me being like, my grandma died. I just inherited $150,000. I'm like, got you. We're buying an Airbnb.
Well, and so they're thinking like they respect that. When you came to them with that opportunity, who do you think they're going to go to when they're ready? Like that immediately. Yes.
So I've never, for anyone out there, I've never bought a lead. I've never cold called. I've never door knocked. I don't do mailers. So I've never done any of that. So I just want you to know, like, my whole business is centered around all of these phone numbers. This has been my phone number since the year 1999. You want to know how much this is worth? Millions.
A shitload.
So
yeah.
I've only transacted within like my sphere, my Facebook sphere. So all my clients are realtors, because you guys then see what I'm doing and my phone rings. Realtors, physicians, because they're tired from COVID or they're rich and they need to offset their income with investments. My friends, because now we're older in our 40s, so we are financially responsible. We do have some money. We did buy our first house pre-COVID, so there's some equity plays that we could take a HELOC or a cash out refi. And then like my past clients who are also sitting on equity. So that's my whole business in a nutshell. No new friends.
This was amazing. I can't wait to see how this episode turns out and all the clips and everything. And I'm so excited to get this off the ground and produce it and everything. And Josh, do you have any final thoughts? You talked way too much, Josh, by the way.
I know. No, I loved it. I think the last thing we should do is, if people want to find you, Beth, where's the best place for them to find you online?
On Instagram at Build Wealth with Beth. One long word.
There you have it.
Beth, or Beth Silverman on Facebook, but really Instagram is where I actually read my DMs.
Yes, she does. I can confirm. Little old me reached out a long time ago.
Although she prefers the voice memo, we found out.
Yeah, what I don't like is texts. Like, don't blind call me because I get too many a day, and I don't like text messages. I really, because I get 100 of them a day, so then I have to screenshot the ones that are important. Claude is not yet in my phone. We're going to get there. But so yeah,
I sent my business partner a screenshot of a text, and all she could focus on was my 647 unread texts. And I'm like, those are 647 things I don't give a fuck about. Like, why would you focus on that?
because like that will give me anxiety. That those counters need to be at 0 all the time. But I love this. I feel like you guys are gonna have other guests and be like, oh my god, they suck.
I'm so excited though. No, you were great. Like, I cannot wait. I can't wait to get this episode produced. And what my vision is until we start launching the podcast, because what I want to do is launch like 5 episodes and have those ready, to launch the podcast, and then do a daily stream thereafter, right? And so I can't wait to see. Well, I want to do some clips of whatever the fuck we talked about, and then release those on the social medias, and then and build up to the launch. So I'm really excited.
Have you watched the Who's Your Daddy podcast?
Yes.
Yeah, like I don't even like really know her name, but she's obviously a big deal, and every major celebrity's ever been on it. But she's so good. Her questions, and I found, like, I've been on panels. I do this shit all the time. I'm always an easier guest because I don't need to be led.
Prompted.
When you're in a panel, like when there's a lot of like, I think one of the hardest parts of being the host is to really know who your guest is. So like, the things you want to touch on and talk about, if it's not naturally flowing. I think there's a lot of pressure on hosts. I'd be batching a lot. I found a video of mine on Facebook Memories the other day. I was batching 40 to 60 reels with a professional crew in one day of filming.
I remember when you were doing that. I remember.
Yeah. And it was exhausting, and there was no teleprompters back then. And that was worth it, because that's seriously what grew my brand. And like now, once you grow it, like it's just maintaining. You just don't have to.
And how the future is going to go, like even next week. So my equipment's going to arrive. My whole scene's going to be different. I'll have like professional sound and lighting and stuff. And then I'm going to have a separate camera set up, so it'll be like different angles Brian can switch between, and Josh is going to do the same thing. So it'll be a lot of, I think it's going to be really cool.
Yeah. Nick Good they had one of the biggest podcasts. It was one of the Inman recognized podcasts. It was the only real estate podcast worth listening to. It was filmed in Tour Studios in Texas. One of them was a KW agent. One of them was an EXP agent. And I was a guest on that show many, many times. And what was so cool about it was, like, if you have a studio space, there are agents and friends who will fly in or be in town for something, and you'll get to film like live in studio, which is great. Or when you're kicking it like this, it's still just as dope. It is like, it's all about just the content, the vibe, and the flow. But in studio is fire. And I love, like, they would have a session, like, so they would take their guests to lunch right before they would film. So they'd kind of talk a little bit about what they wanted to talk about. They would try to not let the good conversations come out.
Exactly. Honestly, I do want to grow this into a studio environment. The first goal, so I have a true crime and real estate podcast, and that started off as like an agent training. And then it's like, well, facts tell, stories sell. So let's like fucking dig up some true crime on how they got their asses killed or thrown in jail or whatever, right? And so started with that, and then Brian came to me and was like, hey, this YouTube channel's on its way to monetization. And I'm like, oh, I've never had success with that before. I hadn't even advertised this before. This is interesting. And so I was like, looking at things, well, if this is working, true crime and real estate, I'm going to lean into this, because I'll be honest, I really wasn't even trying that hard. I'm like, maybe I'll work on the stories a little harder and just shit like that, right? And then in the meantime, that's when I went to Brian and Josh and was like, hey, since this is working so well, people are responding to it, we need to go to MyREShow. We need to push this out. And my goal isn't like, oh, let's get agents or anything like that. My goal is actually to get advertiser dollars. Let's get money that way. Let's grow a big audience and let's build a big network. That's what I want to do with this show. Well, thank you so much for being our first guest, like helping us work out the kinks and stuff. And I can't wait till this comes out, and I hope you like it, and I hope I can have you back in the future.
See you later, Beth. It was nice to meet you.